The series begins with news about a possible nuclear war. We're in a modified version of America in the year 2077. Some people are running late at a party, standing around a TV and listening to the news. The president has disappeared, and nuclear bombs might be dropped soon. The party keeps going, and the commercials on TV are still playing. The main character so far is Cooper Howard, who's entertaining kids with a lasso. When they go inside, Cooper and the others watch in horror as a nuclear bomb explodes, and the world as we know it ends. As soon as the bomb hits, everyone rushes to the nearest vault. It's a tense, chaotic moment. Some people make it underground, others try to escape in their cars, while Cooper rides off on horseback, clearly confused as more nuclear explosions go off. The scene then jumps 219 years into the future, where we meet Lucy McLean. She's skilled at almost everything except using a gun, which she's not very good at. She lives in Vault 33 underground, far from the surface. She speaks to the council and asks for permission to take part in a three-way trade exchange with Vault 32. All three council members agree. We see Lucy getting ready to meet her future husband, standing with the others at the entrance of Vault 32. Her cousin Chet isn't happy about her going, but she reminds him that cousin marriage isn't something they should keep doing. When the vault doors open, we meet Lee Moldaver, who appears to be the overseer of Vault 32, and Lucy's groom, Monty. He's not bad, but Lucy feels uncomfortable and starts asking him awkward questions at dinner. They're interrupted by officials who believe the surface may now be livable for Lucy and Monty's future children to help rebuild the planet. Still, they warn that they don't really know what's waiting up there. The wedding ends, and it's time for Lucy and Monty to be alone, but they have no idea that things in the neighboring vault have fallen apart. Their food was destroyed, supplies ran out, and the place turned into chaos. Lucy's brother, Norman, sneaks in to investigate, and finds the former overseer dead. Lucy realizes something is wrong when she hears screaming outside. That's when she understands the terrible mistake their vault made. The men inside are raiders. Lucy and Monty fight, and when the alarm starts blaring, she takes the chance to hit him over the head. She realizes she's been stabbed in the side and is still wearing her wedding dress as she stumbles out holding her wound. She manages to fight back and kill some of the attackers, but unfortunately the raiders overpower the vault residents. Moldaver confronts Hank and gives him a choice: hand over a group of people from inside the vault or face the consequences. With no real option, Hank locks his daughter in a closet and sacrifices himself. The raiders take him to the surface. Back in the vault, the survivors hold an emergency meeting. Lucy wants to form a search party to find her father, but the others refuse. Norman helps her open the door so she can leave. When Lucy steps into the new world, she's shocked. The land is filled with bodies and scattered bones, total devastation everywhere. They're near the coast, with the remains of a pier nearby, which gives the ruined landscape a strangely beautiful look. We're then introduced to Maximus, who lives on the surface and is part of the Brotherhood of Steel, a faction trying to restore order and prosperity to the world. His instructor, Felix, isn't impressed with Maximus' ignorance and punches him for speaking up. Maximus is treated like an outsider, and to make things worse, his only friend, Dane, gets promoted to go out into the wasteland. That's hard for Maximus, especially since others in the Brotherhood bully him. The next morning, Dane is found seriously injured after someone put razor blades in his boot, ruining his chance to go on the mission. The authorities suspect Maximus and question him. He admits he wanted it to happen but says he didn't actually do it. He confesses he doesn't want to be weak and wants to belong, that he's ready to sacrifice everything for the Brotherhood. Unexpectedly, he's promoted and takes Dane's place as a squire to a knight. When he visits Dane, Dane tells him he assured them Maximus could never hurt him. They exchange guilty looks. Maximus officially joins the mission and is briefed on their target, an escaped member of the Enclave who possesses something that could seriously threaten their faction. Out in the wasteland, a group of raiders approach a lone ghoul, who turns out to be Cooper from the opening scene. He's a skilled sharpshooter, and takes them out quietly before riding off. We also meet Wolzig, who works with elite scientists breeding high-quality dogs. Puppies that don't meet weight standards are euthanized. Their ultimate goal seems to be developing some kind of serum. Wilzig injects himself with a small device and reveals CX-404, his perfectly trained dog he raised from a pup. When another scientist tries to trigger an alarm after seeing what Wilzig did, Wilzig kills him and escapes into the wasteland with the dog. Both the Brotherhood and the ghoul are now hunting him, showing how important he is. Meanwhile, Lucy continues her journey to find her father. At night, she lights a fire under the stars, which attracts Wilzig's attention. He warns her that the fire could get her killed and that she needs to adapt to this world. He tells her priorities may change out here. He disappears, but she keeps the fire going and nothing approaches her. Wilzig and CX-404 later pass to radioactive waste. The dog finds a severed hand, signaling that something even more dangerous is nearby. At the same time, Maximus follows Knight Titus into a cave. Titus orders him to move ahead while he stays back. A giant mutated creature appears, and Titus runs outside, only to be mauled by a massive mutated bear. After Maximus lands the killing blow, he decides Titus doesn't deserve the armor. He lets him bleed out and die, takes the power armor for himself, and continues the mission to prove his worth. The next morning, Lucy reaches an abandoned house and asks for directions. A strange man tells her that Philly, the nearby town on the hill, is dangerous. He offers her a life with him in the broken-down house, but she politely refuses. Lucy eventually arrives in the same town where Maximus is. She asks about Moldaver, and the mood immediately shifts. She's warned to leave. She runs into Wilzig again, who makes it clear that the world outside the vault is nothing like what she's used to. Their meeting catches the ghoul's attention. He reveals there's a bounty on Wilzig's head. A massive fight breaks out in town, and we see just how powerful Cooper really is. Lucy sneaks into a shop, finds Moldaver's name in the records, and grabs a rifle off the wall. She faces the ghoul and tries to shoot him, but Maximus shows up just in time in his power armor and saves her. The shop owner and her friend manage to attach a bronze metal prosthetic leg to Wilzig. Maximus, however, struggles to control the power armor and can't fight the ghoul at full strength, realizing he needs to improve. The ghoul heals CX-404 with a stimpak, not out of kindness, but to use the dog's tracking skills to find Wilzig. Finally, Lucy and Wilzig are deep in the wasteland, far from where they started. Wilzig decides to give up. He drinks a serum to end his life and, before dying, tells Lucy to bring him Moldaver's head to change the future. After that, we jump back in a flashback to the very beginning with Cooper, before the nuclear war. He's on the set of a Western movie and isn't sure about the direction the film is taking, especially in a scene where he's supposed to shoot a criminal. When the take is cut, Cooper talks to the director, who tells him the screenwriter was fired because of his communist views. Instead, they're shifting toward a New America style. We then return to the present, meaning the future, where the ghoul tracks down Wilzig along with CX-404 and finds Wilzig's severed remains. Now he has to find Lucy, suspecting she might be heading toward the city. Lucy's footprints are clearly visible on the ground, making her trail easy to follow. Meanwhile, Lucy keeps moving through the wasteland, getting closer to the radioactive city in the distance. She ignores Wilzig's earlier warning and lights a fire late at night. While examining Wilzig's head, she notices something on the side of his neck. At the same time, Maximus has to imitate Titus' voice over the radio to calm his superior. Unfortunately, when the commander mentions that his knight, meaning Maximus, has died, a replacement is sent. Maximus quickly sabotages the radio and later pays a lot of bottle caps for spare parts, especially since he's also lost a few teeth. When he returns to the power armor, he's ambushed by raiders who beat him and leave him on the ground. They manage to get inside the armor, but before they can fully control it, Maximus gets back up and crushes one of their skulls using the Brotherhood armor. Reinforcements arrive, and he has no choice but to wear the armor and pretend to be Titus. Thaddeus is the new squire, one of the guys who used to bully Maximus. He brings a message from the High Cleric stating that the target is now top priority because whoever controls it will control the entire wasteland. Lucy reaches the coast, where a mutated monster attacks her and drags her back. She fights until the ghoul shows up and aims his weapon. During the chaos, Wilzig's head is stolen by the creature. The ghoul recognizes it as a gulper, which is very bad news. Back in the vault, Chet is reassigned and is no longer guarding the main door. Norman isn't reassigned but is given humiliating tasks, including feeding the imprisoned raiders in the lower cells. As for Maximus, he takes advantage of having Thaddeus around and makes him do whatever he wants, even climbing a tree to grab an apple. Eventually, they find Wilzig's body, confirming they're on the right track and not far from the ghoul and Lucy. Meanwhile, the ghoul decides to use Lucy as bait to lure the gulper and recover Wilzig's head. The plan seems to work. The massive, ugly creature approaches, but after Lucy manages to kill it, the ghoul forces her to keep traveling with him. During this time, Thaddeus opens up about his past. He used to be the Brotherhood's main punching bag, and when Maximus arrived as a new recruit, Thaddeus shifted everyone's attention onto him. He feels guilty about that, not realizing Maximus is the one inside the armor. They head into Gulper territory and enter the water, where it seems the creature has come back to life and is ready to attack. When it strikes, Maximus and Thaddeus work together to kill it. In the process, they recover several items, including Wilzig's head. CX-404 is there too, sniffing around it. At the same time, Lucy is at the mercy of the ghoul, who refuses to give her water and drags her through a radioactive city. As they walk, Cooper punches a Vault-Tec sign, something personal for him since he used to do commercials for the company before the bombs fell. They arrive at the Westside Medical Clinic, where they meet another ghoul named Roger. The floor is covered in empty vials, and he complains about smooth skins. Unfortunately, he starts turning feral, so the ghoul shoots him in the head. Before leaving, he eats part of Roger's body, horrifying Lucy. He even forces her to cook meat from him, making her realize how brutal the wasteland truly is. Despite previously refusing, she's forced to drink dirty pond water to survive. Back in the vault, elections are about to begin between Reg, Betty, and Woody for the new overseer position. They still haven't gotten any information from the captured raiders. Everyone seems normal except Norman, who misses his father and sister. As the last McLean in the vault, his vote carries weight, at least according to Betty. He feels ashamed for hiding during the fight but is advised to move carefully. Later, he discovers something disturbing happened in Vault 32 and is denied access to the records, confirming his suspicions. He teams up with Chet and returns to Vault 32. They discover the last Pip-Boy life signal was from 2 years ago, meaning the residents died long before the raiders arrived. The bodies are arranged in a way that suggests they killed each other. Written in blood on the wall are the words, "We know the truth." Norman also finds that the raiders entered using Rose McLean's access card, deepening the conspiracy. Lucy and the ghoul head to a supermarket where he plans to sell her in exchange for vials that keep him from going fully feral and preserve part of his mind. When Lucy goes inside alone, the ghoul collapses outside. Inside, she's taken to a medical room and given a new vial by a friendly robot named Snip Snip. However, the robot plans to harvest her organs. Thinking fast, Lucy takes control of it and uses cleaning chemicals as a weapon to threaten the raiders. She forces them to release the ghoul from a cage. Some of the captives have already turned feral, and Lucy has to kill a zombie-like woman. She's the only survivor. She tosses some vials to the ghoul and tells him she will never become like him. After she leaves, the ghoul goes back inside and finds a stash of vials, taking them all. He also finds an old film reel of Cooper from his movie days and sits down to watch it. At an abandoned train station, Maximus reveals his identity to Thaddeus. Thaddeus immediately turns on him, believing the Brotherhood would execute him. Maximus tries to kill him, but Thaddeus manages to control the armor, removes the fusion core, and leaves Maximus trapped inside. He escapes with CX-404 and Wilzig's head. Luckily, Lucy rescues Maximus by opening the helmet. She's in bad shape from radiation sickness and needs vials. Maximus introduces himself as Knight Titus, not revealing his real name. Lucy soon passes out, and when she wakes up, they agree to work together. She admits she was naive about life outside the vault. They encounter travelers who turn out to be cannibals. Maximus quickly kills them but is shot in the arm. They reach Shady Sands, and Lucy is shocked to learn that its population once exceeded 34,000. Reclamation Day. The dream of the vault dwellers already happened. Everything she believed was a lie. Maximus tries to calm her and shows her that the city was wiped off the map by a massive explosion. Lucy notices Maximus is bleeding badly, and his wound is far worse than a scratch. They head to Hawthorne Medical Lab searching for a first aid kit, but both are captured and fall into an unexpected vault. Meanwhile, Norman and Chet continue investigating. Norman realizes that every overseer in their history came from Vault 31, and the same pattern happened in Vault 32. During an emergency meeting, Betty announces they will repopulate Vault 32. She tells Norman that Lucy buried her Pip-Boy along with Hank's, claiming it's just a recording device, but we know that isn't true. We see an old black and white Vault-Tec commercial featuring Cooper Howard promoting Vault 4, where 80 scientists would conduct a 5-year experiment. It appears to be the same vault where Lucy and Maximus are being held. Back in the past, Cooper is living a luxurious life as the face of Vault-Tec. The recorded voice used by Snip Snip originally belonged to Thaddeus Codsworth, an old friend of Cooper who sold the rights to his voice. He once said that the end of the world is a product in itself, and that they need to be ready to sell it. The war is coming. Cooper can't believe what's happening, but he sees people around him putting their faith in the vaults, and doing everything they can to protect themselves. His wife, Barb, works hard to secure a vault spot for their family. Cooper even goes off to war believing he's defending freedom, while viewing the vaults, their blue suits, and their "no dogs allowed" rules with skepticism. Back in the future, the ghoul is captured by government agents known as the Gunners and taken to their leader, the Hunter. He's brought before a man named Sorrel, who has heard of him. They sit together in a bar, and the ghoul stitches his finger back on. He mentions Moldaver, who is clearly very dangerous. Sorrel considers himself the boss and makes the mistake of trusting the ghoul, ordering his men to lower their guns. In a flash, the ghoul kills them all. On the wall is a wanted poster for Moldaver, and it's revealed that Cooper knows her from the past, when she once introduced herself to him as his biggest fan. At the same time, Luz and Maximus were locked inside the vault, and things were fixed up. It was clear they'd be staying there for a few hours just to make sure there was no radiation. Lucy was naive about that and decided to settle in, but when the camera pulled back, we saw they were actually inside a room labeled "Experiment Subjects." Lucy and Maximus met the overseer, and it was obvious he had his eye on them. It quickly became clear there were a lot of people inside the vault, and they looked like some kind of hybrid humans. Lucy was shocked and spoke to the overseer in his office with complete honesty. He told her they called the people living on the surface Surfies, and he doesn't like following their ideas. When Lucy brought up level 12, which the overseer had previously said was off limits, he immediately told her to leave after taking a sip of his soup. Maximus was also curious about what the vault was hiding and discovered there were tons of fusion cores powering the place. They quickly encouraged him to head to Unit 428 to take a hot shower and enjoy everything the vault had to offer. He happily agreed. There was a basket filled with familiar Fallout items, including sugar bombs that anyone who's played the game would recognize. Meanwhile, Lucy accidentally walked into a classroom and found a model of Shady Sands. She also discovered a timeline written on the board and realized the vault was controlled by the NCR, the New California Republic. Later, a meeting was called about a tradition known as Surface Dwellers. The ritual involved everyone taking off their clothes, worshipping the Flame Mother, chanting, covering themselves in mud, and even drinking blood. It was extremely shocking, especially for Lucy, who had only come to observe. Lucy couldn't get through to Maximus, so she went up to level 12 to prove something was wrong. She was determined to shatter his perfect image of the vault, which clearly wasn't the utopia he expected. Unfortunately, when a scientist showed up, Lucy was exposed. She struggled to escape, but Bertie, the leader there, managed to restrain her. Maximus had no idea what was happening in his room. Later, we see two scavengers using metal detectors in the sand. They used to be lead farmers, but when they got home, they found the ghoul eating in their kitchen. The head of the household wasn't happy, but he agreed to answer Cooper's questions. It turned out that Tommy, the farmer's son, was involved with Moldaver and her group. He believed deeply in her mission to fix the world and even dragged his older brother Rufus into it. Rufus is now dead because of the ghoul. Tommy barely managed to say that Moldaver was up at the observatory, but because of his strong beliefs and his finger itching on the trigger, he ended up taking a bullet to the stomach for the trouble he caused. In the past, Cooper confronted Moldaver after she said she knew Barb, which caught his attention. They walked together, and Barb explained that America had been stuck in a resource war for over 10 years. Vault-Tec had bought the solution to end that war, and wanted his help getting their kids back. She also explained that anyone who wasn't a communist was considered crazy now. When Cooper got home, he planted a listening device on the Pip-Boy to figure out what his wife was hiding. Moldaver's words really stuck with him, and he kept monitoring Barb from then on. Back in the present, Lucy was tied up inside the vault, watching footage of the scientists, including Overseer Hawthorne, being attacked by one of the creatures that eventually escaped. It became clear they were trying to hybridize humans with radiation-resistant species to help them survive high radiation levels. But the experiments went horribly wrong when the creatures killed the scientists and took over the vault. They asked about the experiments happening in Vault 33. When Lucy denied knowing anything, that was enough reason to arrest her. As they dragged her away, they passed Maximus's room while he was eating popcorn. He hyped himself up to rescue her. Lucy wasn't hard to find, since they brought her in front of the entire vault to sacrifice her for the harm she supposedly caused. She was sentenced to death and taken to the surface. The sword that was meant to cut off her head was instead used to cut her restraints. They even gave her 2 weeks' worth of supplies. Lucy had asked Maximus to stay in the vault, but he didn't know that. Instead, he shut down the fusion cores, used one to power up the armor, put on the Brotherhood armor, and started wrecking the place. Lucy stopped him, and he awkwardly apologized before leaving with the stolen core. She wasn't happy and convinced him to return it. Maximus felt exposed without the armor but eventually agreed. Lucy encouraged him, and they decided to go look for Wilzig's head. Elsewhere, Thaddeus found a gas station and left CX-404 next to a Nuka-Cola machine. After leaving the dog behind, he followed a radio signal to a pharmacy. The doctor agreed to treat him in exchange for a fusion core. His leg was fully restored, and the doctor gave him directions to Shady Sands. The ghoul later found CX-404, renamed him Dogmeat, and used him to track Thaddeus. While Thaddeus was waiting, he got hit in the neck just as Lucy and Maximus arrived. It turned out the serum the doctor gave him turned him into a ghoul. He could now heal from what would have been fatal injuries, but he needed vials to keep going. Maximus let him walk away. Later, he said goodbye to Lucy as she ran off, saying she was heading to Vault 33. Back at Vault 33, things took an unexpected turn. The raiders all died from rat poison, thanks to Betty. Tasks were reassigned for reproduction and switching vaults. Chet and Sandra were sent to Vault 32, while Norman stayed in 33. After the new residents were forced into their assigned vault, Norman broke into the overseer's office and used the computer to send a message to Vault 31. He got an immediate response and managed to gain entry after claiming the mission had been compromised. In the wasteland, the Brotherhood of Steel picked up Maximus on his way back to base. He was ready to do whatever it took to return to Lucy, who had asked him to meet her at Vault 33. After everything he'd been through, he came back a different man. He handed over the head to the leader, with Dane present. Unfortunately, He was quickly exposed for bringing the wrong head. Dane declared loyalty to Maximus and begged the leader not to kill him. Maximus admitted Titus had died a coward and promised to face the council. The leader decided Maximus would serve as his squire in taking control of the wasteland. It was a tempting offer, especially for someone who had always been searching for a home. But his heart was with Lucy. Lucy later appeared at Moldaver's base and went straight to her father, Hank, who was alive and locked in a cage. Moldaver offered her food and encouraged her to join them. Lucy demanded her father's release. Moldaver agreed, but first she promised to reveal how she knew Hank. We then learn Hank's secret. He wasn't born in a vault. Meanwhile, Norman discovered in Vault 31 a brain in a glass jar that revealed he shares 50% of Hank's DNA, not just Betty's. He also uncovered Buds, test tube babies raised specifically to rebuild humanity. In the past, Cooper followed Barb to Vault-Tec headquarters and discovered the company was plotting to end the world to secure its own survival. Barb proposed the idea of 3 interconnected vaults, 31, 32, and 33. Vault 31 housed executives in cryogenic freeze, while 32 and 33 were breeding grounds filled with genetically selected individuals meant to pair with Buds to produce a new class of supermanagers who would inherit the Earth after the surface was cleansed. The bombs may have been dropped intentionally to create a true monopoly. Hank was Barb's new assistant, and her words echoed, "War never changes." In the present, it's revealed that Dane intentionally injured himself because he was afraid to go outside. Moldaver kidnapped Hank because Lucy's mother, Rose, had discovered water was being siphoned from the vaults. She believed civilization might have returned to the surface and left to prove it. Hank followed her, burned the city to the ground, and forcibly took the kids back to the vault. Rose had turned into a ghoul, meaning the story about burying her was a lie. The cold fusion device in Wilzig's neck was the key to restarting civilization. Lucy forced her father to give her the code, triggering a chain reaction that powered everything up to 100%. A battle broke out between the Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR. Lucy realized that yes, war never changes. The ghoul exploited a weakness in the chest plate of the armor and killed several soldiers. The fight moved to the rooftop. Maximus freed Hank but changed his stance when he learned Hank was responsible for Shady Sands. Hank put on Brotherhood armor, struck Maximus, and told Lucy to come with him. Instead, she aimed her gun. The ghoul appeared, and Cooper confronted Hank, demanding to know where his family was. Hank flew off and escaped without giving any answers. Lucy decided to team up with the ghoul to track Hank down. She mercy-killed her ghoul mother to end her suffering, joined the group, kissed an unconscious Maximus goodbye, and left. Meanwhile, Norman was trapped inside Vault 31 and forced to enter one of the cryopods. We then see Maximus waking up after the fight. Moldaver was still alive long enough to whisper, "Rose," before activating the cold fusion system, restoring power to the nearby city. She then bled out and died. Dane believed Maximus killed her and treated him like a hero, but Maximus grew uneasy about the Brotherhood's overwhelming power. Lucy and the group reached the wasteland, Hollywood, while Hank made it to New Vegas settlers. And that's where Season 1 of Fallout ends. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.